Hey everybody, Alex Kozora, SteelersDepot.com, back with some more Pittsburgh Steelers recap and analysis. The Pittsburgh Steelers lose their home opener 31-17 to the Seattle Seahawks. Let's talk about it. Before we start, if you guys could like this video, subscribe to the channel, and check out the site, SteelersDepot.com, would really appreciate that. So certainly not the way Pittsburgh wanted to greet the Acrisure Stadium fan base in this one. Just really ugly offense, defense, and special teams in a lot of respects. Starting with the Steelers offense, the run game was better. Jaylen Warren, one of the better players of the game. Run game, short pass game, the big 65-yard catch and run. He had classic Jaylen Warren breaking an impossible number of tackles. The run game found a bit more traction, even though the numbers may not show that emphatically. Warren, 14 carries, 48 yards, long of 9. Kenneth Gainwell, a good player, versatile, just not a running back, and Pittsburgh wants to use him as a between-the-tackles type of runner, and he is not that kind of guy. He is better at basically everything else, receiver, returner, coverage guy, than he probably is as a true and blue running back. Now, I thought there was a chance to get Caleb Johnson more touches early in this game before the gaff. We'll get to that, but Pittsburgh giving Gainwell 5 carries, 20 yards, and that might be inflated. I think Gainwell had a long run in the final seconds that was meaningless in the grand scheme and scope of things. So run blocking a bit better, but still not really imposing your will. Pittsburgh's still struggling up front. They face some tough runs in the Jets in Seattle, but that cannot be the excuse if Pittsburgh wants to go as far as they desire to go, because you're going to face some tough fronts along the way. Rodgers felt shaky in this one, a little more spry, a little more mobile, and of the two picks, the one is probably not his fault in the end zone, which was a backbreaker in this game, maybe just as impactful, or maybe not quite, but up there in terms of impact as the Caleb Johnson kickoff return, gaff, and blunder there, but just Rodgers didn't feel like he was seeing the field. I don't feel like the scheme on first watch, and we have to get in the All-22, was really great against Seattle. Nothing really felt open. Nothing felt easy. Everything just felt really difficult. And compare that to Seattle that had a lot more success spreading Pittsburgh out, creating one-on-one matchups, and having a clearer picture, seemingly, for Sam Darnold and what Pittsburgh offered Aaron Rodgers, who's still being hit too often. Only 3 sacks, 2 in the first half, but still a couple of big hits there for Rodgers, and this just cannot continue. There's got to be still more of a run game, more protection for him overall that just has not been there, and he gave way to Rudolph on that final drive where the game was over. For the offensive line, Broderick Jones felt better, but still probably some work to do there. Troy Fautanu struggled some in this game. Gave up at least one quarterback hit, beat to the inside. I think Fautanu's a really good athlete. I think beating him around the edge is going to be difficult to do overall, but how does he defend bull rushes and power? How does he defend inside counters and rushes? Those have been some consistent concerns I've had with this game, and those were on display in this one. Got called for holding on a third down. Rodgers escaped, but play was called back because of it, and Pittsburgh had to punt. So just not good enough from that front five overall. Collectively, it's a unit thing, and it's been underwhelming for sure. Now, was it better than last week? I think so. I think it was better than Pittsburgh played in week 1 for the offensive line, but is that the standard, and was it good enough in this game? No, it was not. Defensively, the run defense started out better. I thought Pittsburgh looked good early to the front side. Toss plays, Pittsburgh was taking those things away, and that was encouraging. The Seahawks hit one backside cut for a 13-yard gain in the first quarter, but other than that, I felt like the run defense was what I thought it would be in this game. Really strong, bouncing back, looking more like its standard Steelers self instead of the way it was in week 1 and late last season, but second half, they got gashed. Now, there were injuries, no Highsmith, no Elliott, Porter, Loudermilk going down, apparently, per Mike Tomlin. Loudermilk and Highsmith, high ankle sprains, and not a great sign for their chances of playing in week number 3. You had Patrick Queen, Peyton Wilson battling injury and or illness. Wilson threw up on the field. Both were in the medical tent. Both came back to finish out the game, but bottom line is the run defense got gashed in the second half. I think Seattle ran for over 80 yards in the second half of this game. They busted off big runs. Walker, the 19-yard touchdown on 3rd and goal from the 19, and that stuff is unacceptable. You had a chance to make some plays, didn't always rally, didn't always finish, and some of those issues popped up in the second half, where Walker especially was having success. So 2 weeks running with some similar problems, and that starts becoming a real concern. In the secondary, Jalen Ramsey, up and down game. There certainly were impactful plays, had an interception, his first in his Steelers tenure. He didn't get credit for a blocked field goal, but certainly felt like he impacted it by getting up the middle and maybe kind of being a distraction that caused the Seahawks kicker, Jason Myers, to doink one from very makeable range. But there were some big plays given up too. A touchdown early on to Torrey Horton, a rookie. Long completion late in the game to Smith and Jigba. I think Pittsburgh's got some schematic problems. I feel like Seattle had the upper hand. They were spreading the field out. They were creating one-on-one matchups. They were winning consistently over the middle of the field, especially to Smith and Jigba. But Kupp and Horton and others were making plays. So I feel like Pittsburgh did not get... They got some stops on third down, but some of those third and long situations, stuff over the middle, Pittsburgh allowing those too consistently, probably a little more early, and then very late in the game they were giving those up. You can't have that. Seattle very much clear in what they wanted to do. They wanted to win over the middle, and win they did. While this game had a lot of parallels to the Jets game week one difference in a negative way was that Pittsburgh's defense could not make those plays late in the game. They made plays late against the Jets. They got 2 stops on New York's final 2 drives. Not the case here. Seattle, 17 fourth quarter points. They had 2 touchdowns and a field goal on 3 of their 4 drives. That last one kind of just running clock at that point. So basically scored on every real attempt that Seattle tried to in the fourth quarter. And Pittsburgh had their chances. A real key play in this one. It's 3rd and 10. Pittsburgh has a chance to get off the field, down 7. Patrick Queen up the middle, free rush, free chance to sack Sam Darnold. He can't make the play. Darnold spins away, finds A.J. Barner. They convert. And then later on, Kenneth Walker has that 19-yard touchdown. Those are just missed opportunities that are right there for the taking on a silver platter, and Pittsburgh can't make them. Yes, Queen had the rib injury. No, it doesn't matter. He's there. He can make the play. He's playing. He's got to make the play. He didn't. I thought Queen did some nice things in the run game early, but in play action, Darnold was toying with him, and that play was a huge missed chance on the Walker 19-yard touchdown. Wilson has the angle, has a chance to take him down. He can't do that. Make them kick. Myers missed one from makeable range. Maybe he does it again. Maybe you get a block. Maybe there's a penalty. You never know what could happen. We'll never find out. Allowing that touchdown late in the game. So not getting those stops late, really, really critical. And on special teams, a lot going on here. The good Chris Boswell continues to be excellent. He went 3 for 3, 2 field goals from 48 yards. Mike Tomlin punting on 4th and 1 from almost midfield. Don't like the decision there. Didn't like it at the time. Didn't like it in hindsight, obviously. And the analytics say go for it. And I know Tomlin trying to trust the defense. The offense wasn't great, but the offense made plays in short yardage in this game. They had at least 2 3rd and 1 conversions before that moment. I think they could have converted again. The O-line blocking a bit better. Warren running hard. Pittsburgh opted to punt. And that is Tomlin living in his fears in a moment like that. I don't know if I mentioned also the interception that Rodgers had, the first one in the back of the end zone. That was such a crusher in this game, where you have that 65-yard catch and run by Jaylen Warren, and you're in goal-to-go territory, and you throw that interception, and that's really more on Calvin Austin for getting bunched up there in that scramble drill. You know, there are rules on scramble drills for short routes will maybe go long, and longer routes will come back to the ball and just have to space it out well. He didn't. Ball clips off his hands, intended for Freiermuth, gets picked off, and that is really just devastating to your chances of winning. But back to special teams, of course, the biggest blunder of the game and probably the season was Caleb Johnson. So the situation, let me make sure I set it up correctly here for you guys. It's 17-14 early fourth quarter. Seattle had just kicked a field goal to take the lead. They kick off. Caleb Johnson at about the 5-ish yard line lets the ball clip through his hands, rolls into the end zone. Johnson watches it, presumably thinking it's now a touchback. It's a live ball. Even if he hadn't touched it, it's a live ball because the ball landed in the landing zone. Seattle jumps on it. They recover. It is a touchdown, Seattle. Now it's 24-14, and that was an obvious turning point of this one. I'd like to assume that Johnson knows the rule on that. That's been explained to him. After the game, he did not comment if he knew the rule or not, just said he has to go out there and make the play. I feel like if he knew the rule, he would have said, I knew the rule, and that's on me. He did take responsibility for the play, but no matter what, you got to know the rule. You can't make that kind of mistake. It's obvious and has, for the older folk out there, shades of Barry Foster in 1990 against the San Francisco 49ers, who tried to fair catch a kickoff, and it stayed in the field of play. San Francisco recovered, didn't score a touchdown on it, on that particular recovery, but very similar situation there. So just tough start for Caleb Johnson, not getting much play offensively, not really being trusted as a rookie running back for a 41-year-old quarterback in this offense, and certainly won't gain any trust from that kickoff return blunder. He'll learn from it. He'll get better. Obviously, I don't think he'll ever make that mistake again, but making it once is one time too many. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate you guys watching. Tough loss for Pittsburgh, 1-1. The chance to go 2-0 for Pittsburgh was right there on the table. I felt confident going into this game, and I don't usually feel confident going into games. I'm pretty pessimistic and concerned and anxiety-ridden Alex over here for these games. I thought Pittsburgh would win this one relatively comfortably, and they did anything but. And of course, lost this game 1-1, going to New England, a talented New England team getting a win today over Miami for Week 3. That game 1 o'clock next Sunday in Foxborough. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate you guys watching. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and check out the site, SteelersDepot.com. Thank you again, and we'll talk to you soon.